This is CBN NewsWatch.
It is Monday, August 10th. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, the White House versus Congress on unemployment benefits. With no agreement in sight, President Trump took executive action to provide some help. But Democrats question if he has the authority to act. Where will children go to school this fall? Public, private, home? We're going to look at options parents have for educating their children. Attorney General William Barr warning the far left has become a secular religion and it is a revolutionary faction in America. And in one of America's major cities hit hard by violence over the last couple of months, a move of God as hundreds of people come to Christ and are baptized at Revival Saturday night. All those stories and more are ahead in this edition of CBN NewsWatch. I want to begin this half hour with Democrats and the White House squaring off over how much money struggling unemployed Americans should get from the federal government. The president signing a series of executive orders to get cash-strapped folks some relief over the weekend. But Democrats arguing the president does not have the legal authority to bypass Congress. George Thomas takes a look at the controversy.
One of the president's executive orders calls for the federal government to pay cash-strapped Americans on unemployment an extra $300 each week, with an additional $100 coming from states. It's one-third less than the $600 unemployment boost they had been receiving. Democrats saying it doesn't do enough to relieve the economic pain being felt by millions.
It doesn't do anything, and as the American people look at these executive orders, they'll see they don't come close to doing the job.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi questioning whether states can afford to contribute to each worker's check.
What the president put forth was a complicated formula which said that the states should put up 25% of the money. The states don't have the money to do that. They have expenses from the coronavirus. They have lost revenue from shelter in place.
The president's orders also call for measures to stop evictions, extend relief for student loan borrowers, and deferring the payroll tax on wages for workers making less than $100,000 a year. He even floated the idea of doing away with them permanently.
If I'm victorious on November 3rd, I plan to forgive these taxes and make permanent cuts to the payroll tax.
Democrats questioning the legality of the president's executive orders, and even one Republican lawmaker, Senator Ben Sasse of Nebraska, calling Trump's unilateral moves unconstitutional slop. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin pushing back on the objections.
If the Democrats want to challenge us in court and hold up unemployment benefits to those hardworking Americans that are out of a job because of COVID, they're going to have a lot of explaining to do.
The president issued the orders after the two sides failed to reconcile the Democrats' $3.5 trillion relief plan with the GOP's $1 trillion offering. The four executive orders called for the federal government to spend up to $44 billion to help financially strapped Americans. But given the number of people unemployed so far, those funds will likely only last a few weeks. George Thomas, CBN News.
As the coronavirus continues to spread, the debate over whether schools should reopen is heating up as well, as many families weigh the best option, from public to private to homeschooling and the newest trend, learning pods. Heather Sells has this story.
This fall, public schools may see an exodus like never before. That's because many districts are going online, including 11 of the 15 largest systems in the country. Decisions like that aren't sitting well, with a growing number of families choosing to homeschool.
We have seen an explosion in the homeschool community nationally, to the point that many districts are finding that their superintendents' offices are being flooded and their systems shutting down by how many families are withdrawing from public education this fall.
Membership at the Homeschool Legal Defense Fund has tripled, and California's Homeschool Association is seeing that same increase in the number of parents seeking information. It's not that all these parents want to teach their kids. Some just need help as they try to balance their work and public school distance learning. Other parents are flocking to private schools.
We are increasingly seeing reports from around the country of private schools seeing upticks in their enrollment, and specifically a parent saying they want the in-person 5-day-a-week education that they think is best for their kids.
And the latest trend is pods or micro schools, which appeal to parents worried about COVID safety.
Families of maybe in total 10 kids or so are getting together, and they're sort of pooling their resources to bring a teacher on to teach those kids in person, but they're sort of self-contained groups, so that decreases the danger of COVID-19 exposure.
Perhaps the least affected in this sea change are homeschool families who can continue mostly as normal. Still, they're finding that parents new to teaching or supervising their kids' education want help. Education coach Candace Duggar says parents need to know their state laws to homeschool and get organized.
You're going to still need a schedule. You're still going to have a problem. You might not be learning and worried about finding your shoes and your lunch boxes and your backpacks in the morning, but you'll be switching those problems out for where's my computer, where's my charger, I can't find my headphones.
One silver lining for these parents, plenty of time to explore their kids' passions, what they love to learn. It's a setup for lifelong learning, something that everyone can buy into. Heather Sells, CBN News.
You can find more resources on homeschooling and educational options by visiting our website, cbnnews.com. Attorney General William Barr says the far left in the United States today is basically, quote, a secular religion, saying they're not interested in the historic traditions of political dialogue and voting. Speaking to Mark Levin on Fox News program Life, Liberty, and Levin, Barr said the left is now essentially a revolutionary party that isn't interested in compromise, but believes in tearing down the American system.
They're interested in total victory, and it's a secular religion. It's a substitute for religion. They view their political opponents and as evil, because we stand in the way of their progressive utopia that they're trying to reach. And that's what gives, the intensity to the partisan feelings that people feel today. Because for them, this pilgrimage we're all on is a political pilgrimage. Everything is reduced to politics. For people who don't have that perspective, politics is important, but it's not the whole purpose of life.
Barr also compared the nationwide riots organized by Antifa to, quote, a new form of urban guerrilla warfare. The Satanic Temple has announced it is raffling a free abortion to promote its religious abortion ritual. The group says the free abortion can be medical or surgical and can be transferred to someone else. The Satanic Temple, or TST, says its new satanic abortion ritual is a, quote, spiritual experience designed to instill confidence and self-worth in accordance to TST's religious beliefs. The group says all abortions by its members are religious acts of Satanism. You can find out more about this story by going to cbnnews.com, including how the Satanic Temple says a 2014 Supreme Court ruling involving Hobby Lobby gives them legal protections on abortion. Evangelist Franklin Graham has announced the Prayer March 2020 in Washington, calling on people to travel to the nation's capital to pray for America.
I'm in Washington, D.C. today, 26th of September. Mark that date, 26th of September. I'm asking you to come and join me right here on the Mall, Washington, D.C. for the Prayer March 2020. We're going to pray for this nation. Our only hope for this country is God. I hope that you'll join me right here on the 26th of September, noon, okay? And we're going to march from one end of this mall to the other. Take us about 2 hours, but we're going to march and we're going to pray as we go along the way. God bless you. I'll see you here on the Mall, the 26th of September, noon, right here, Lincoln Memorial.
For those interested in joining the march or praying along with it, September 26th is a Saturday. Coming up, after last week's devastating explosion in Beirut and the crippled economy, people in Lebanon are demanding a change in their government. We're going to have that story from Chris Mitchell in Israel when we come back.
Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
I'm Ephraim Graham, and this is Studio 5. Cruise with me as I discover the good things happening in the world of music, sports, television, and movies.
The fact that Ryan Coogler was going to be directing the film, I knew that something special was going to happen.
We'll chat with artists at the forefront of entertainment and explore the connection between popular culture and faith.
I asked my pastor, I said, well, does that mean I'm supposed to be a preacher? He says, well, no, you already have a pulpit.
Watch Studio 5 Wednesday night at 9:30.
Remember for a moment what it was like to be a child. You believed every story you were told. You saw a world full of endless possibilities. What stories will the world's orphaned and at-risk children believe? We believe the Bible tells the only story truly worth believing. We believe that every child should have the opportunity to dream, the chance to take challenges and turn them into possibilities, the chance to stand on the promises of God, to recognize their place in the greatest story ever told. They have their whole lives ahead of them. Theirs is a world of endless possibilities. They are looking for a story to believe. We will tell them that story. Will you join us?
Get the top political news and analysis from Washington on Faith Nation, tonight at 6 Eastern, only on the CBN News Channel.
People of Lebanon, crippled by a failed economy and driven by disaster after last week's massive explosion in Beirut, want a change in their government. Just today, a Lebanese judge began questioning the heads of the country's security agencies over the devastating blast. And another cabinet minister resigned in protest. As Chris Mitchell now reports, the public has also taken to the streets to express anger.
Since last week's explosion seen around the world, thousands have marched to Beirut's Martyrs Square to blame Lebanon's leaders for the disaster.
People are enraged. They are enraged that so many politicians and public officials were aware that more than 2,700 tons of explosive material was just left in the port for years without any safety measures.
Many clashing with the police.
We lost it. Our houses, we lost them. Our lives, we lost them. Everything is happening to us. I am 28 years old, and what future do I have? Nothing.
The battle lines are drawn as angry Lebanese protesters briefly took over some government buildings. Prime Minister Diab plans to call early elections, and several parliament ministers have resigned.
We will not accept what happened yesterday unless it is a turning point in Lebanon's history and the Lebanese people get their right, whether Muslim or Christian, so that we'll be able to build a nicer Lebanon for our children and we can live in peace.
In a virtual conference Sunday, including the UN and United States, French President Emmanuel Macron told international leaders the future of Lebanon and the region is at stake. Yet sending help is difficult due to Lebanon's government leaders accused of corruption. President Michel Aoun ruled out an international investigation because he said it would delay justice. Many blame Hezbollah for the disaster, but its leader Hassan Nasrallah denied involvement.
I'd like to confirm today, I declare and confirm a categorical, absolute, decisive, firm denial that we have anything in the site. There is no weapon storage.
I don't buy this with the story at all.
That's because Middle East expert Dr. Mordecai Kadar says Beirut's port had become known as Iran's main arms supply route to Hezbollah. He says it was even called the Fatima Gate, named after the daughter of Mohammed.
Every night between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., Hezbollah actually was kicking out all the officials and the policemen, everybody else, and the gate was for itself to do whatever they like.
Kadar also believes the second explosion before the third main explosion was not fireworks, as some in the government have claimed, but munitions or rocket fuel.
Fireworks do not create such a devastation. And fireworks you can see when they are initiated, you can see them in the sky, even if it's in daylight. So actually, this is what exploded there is ammunition of Hezbollah, which Hezbollah was hiding in the warehouses which he's controlling.
Gadar says the calls for change in Lebanon's government could potentially have the biggest impact on Iran's master plan that has helped Hezbollah entrench itself into Lebanon for 40 years.
Hopefully now the world will start looking at how Hezbollah took over this state, and maybe the world will do something about this or tighten the grip over the Iranians head of the octopus in order to release states like Lebanon from this grip.
One Beirut resident told CBN News they feel it's not so much a political battle, but a spiritual battle over the future of Lebanon. It's why they're asking the worldwide church to pray for their country. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Still ahead, a U.S. Navy SEAL who fought al-Qaeda terrorists in Iraq says he was shot 27 times, but he still survived. He explains how when we come back and how you can build yourself up for the future trials of yourself as well. We'll have that story for you right after this. Stay with us.
Hey, if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
You know, I think as a father, it's my job, to lead, just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Orphans Promise is committed to loving and serving at-risk children, to helping keep families together, and to creating opportunities for strong and sustainable communities around the world. We're working in over 60 countries around the world, and with your help, we can do even more. There's an old African proverb I love that says, if you want to run fast, run alone. But if you want to run far, run together. At Orphans Promise, we want to run far so we can touch the lives of as many orphaned and vulnerable children as possible. But we don't want to go alone. We're out to change the world, one child, one family, one community at a time. Will you join us?
Perfectly wounded, that's how one doctor described former Navy SEAL Mike Dagg after he was shot 27 times and survived. It's also the title of his new memoir, where he explores why he believes God spared his life and why is he considering making a run for governor. He answers that question as well. Mark Martin brings us this American hero's fascinating story.
It still has all the bullet holes in it, still covered in blood. It's ripped in the back here.
Retired Navy SEAL Senior Chief Mike Day shows me body armor that helped protect him in a battle with al-Qaeda terrorists in Iraq.
What is this here? Talk about this.
Well, this is what we call an LBE, load-bearing equipment. So this is what you carry your radio in, your magazines, and it's actually loaded up pretty much the way it was that night.
That night in April 2007 in Anbar province, Day's team of Navy SEALs and Iraqi scouts were on the hunt for a high-level al-Qaeda cell. He says the terrorists had shot down helicopters. Being the first to enter a 12-by-12 room where 4 al-Qaeda leaders waited to strike proved to be almost deadly.
As soon as I entered the room, they opened fire, and I lost my rifle. I transitioned to my pistol, and I killed the guy down the left wall as I was coming off my feet, and I landed right next to him.
When the gunfight was over, Day took out all 4 terrorists in the room, but not before being shot 27 times and hit with grenade shrapnel.
So all of this equipment you were wearing the night that you got shot 27 times?
Correct.
Day first shared his miraculous story with CBN News 6 years ago. Now he has a new book called Perfectly Wounded, a memoir about what happens after a miracle. He says the title came from a comment made by an emergency room doctor.
So he got to see all manner of gunshot wounds, stab wounds. I mean, he saw, if you work in the ER, you get to see all that stuff.
True.
And I was explaining to him where I'd been shot, and his response was, well, you were just perfectly wounded.
Do you believe that God spared your life?
Yeah, I do. A lot of people will look at that whole gunfight. No, you got shot 27 times and walked away from it. You're here for a reason. I think I'm just starting to find out that I actually am. I look at the rest of my life and how protected I've been. I haven't talked to these people, my guardian angels, but I've almost died multiple times, and I'm still here.
What do you hope people take away from the book?
Maybe a way to help build resiliency, and I don't want to give advice. I don't. I'm like, this is how I did it. That's pretty much what the book's about. How I suffered trauma like everybody's going to, and how I built the resiliency to get through the next one.
Although Day doesn't want to give advice, he does offer this to those who may deal with tough times in their own lives.
If all you do is sit on a couch and watch TV and eat bad food, when something really bad happens, you don't have the training, you don't have the practice to get through that. And it can become overwhelming, and it's going to dump you into a hole. So it's just a mindset of training and practicing to build resiliency. And that means getting up and working out. Push yourself just a tiny bit. I like to end my showers with cold water. Knocks the steam down in the room, and it also provides that shock. And I think if you practice physical resiliency, it's going to also build your psychological resiliency, and vice versa.
Before writing the book, Day spent his life giving back. He worked at the U.S. Special Operations Command Warrior Care Program, also called the CARE Coalition, helping service members. He's also taught free fall to military personnel and Special Operations Urban Combat to SEAL teams. Senior Chief Day is also in the process of starting a nonprofit organization called Warrior Tribe. It will provide resiliency education for young people, veterans, and trauma survivors. The retired Navy SEAL is also considering running for governor of Virginia because of his concern that constitutional rights are being taken away.
Yeah, very preliminary. I don't really want to do it. But when I get scared, and I'm kind of scared right now when I'm watching, when I get scared, I go fight. I don't cower. My fight or flight reflex tells me to go fight. And I'm kind of scared right now about what's going on.
Day definitely did not cower that night in 2007 in Iraq when he nearly lost his life.
Why is it important to you to keep this?
Because I want to be able to remember. I mean, it's a treasured possession of mine because it helps me remember and know more. And I don't want to forget it.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for your service, too, as well, most definitely.
No, gee, I got kicked out of high school. Had nothing else to do.
No, it's very honorable, your service.
Well, I'm lucky I got to do it.
Mark Martin, CBN News, Virginia Beach.
Coming up, revival came to another American city rocked by violence this weekend. We're going to have that story when we come back. Stay with us.
Daddy?
Yeah, buddy.
How many nickels are in a dollar?
There are 20 nickels in a dollar.
How do birds fly? Does milk really make my bones stronger?
Yeah.
Daddy, when we die, will we go to heaven?
Do you have the answer to life's biggest question? Call the 700 Club. We'll help you find answers to the important questions life brings your way.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs from health to entertainment you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. To watch the CBN News Channel, download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. David Perlmutter, board-certified neurologist and #1 New York Times bestselling author. Wouldn't it be great to boost your energy, eliminate brain fog, and even reverse brain disease? Well, you can, and I'm going to show you how, along with some of the world's most well-respected brain experts, in this DVD, Protect Your Brain.
Get Protect Your Brain, a free DVD only from the Christian Broadcasting Network, featuring experts on the cutting edge of neuroscience and brain health.
No matter how many times you've failed in the past, you really can do this.
In Protect Your Brain, you'll discover simple strategies to keep your brain young and healthy. Improve your memory. Discover the gut-brain connection. In Protect Your Brain, get your free copy at cbn.com or call 1-800-700-7000.
If you want to improve the quality of your life, get the DVD Protect Your Brain and get it today.
It has the power to influence weight loss, boost your immune system, and improve brain function.
We've seen an explosion of data on the role of the gut microbiome in health.
The free Build a Better Gut booklet reveals the latest information about the gut microbiome. You'll discover how your gut affects the rest of your health.
The gut microbiome has been linked to depression and cancer and heart disease.
Learn how to build a stronger, healthier gut.
The microbiome, if it's in good composition, are really protecting us all the time from more invasive things.
Get the Build a Better Gut booklet, free from the Christian Broadcasting Network. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut.
You need to make sure that your microbes are working with you, not against you.
And if you order online, you'll get immediate access to the Build a Better Gut series, a digital copy of the booklet, and related bonus material. Build a Better Gut today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut for your free copy.
Just a few miles away from more violence in Portland, Oregon Saturday, thousands of people came together for praise, worship, and to hear Bethel Music Sean Foyt speak. Foyt told Fox News a crowd of 4,000 to 7,000 worshipers showed up at a waterfront park for the Riots to Revival event in an effort to heal the brokenness that has affected so many Americans. White, black, Hispanic, we came and released our song of hope over this city, Foyt said. People gave their life to Jesus. Hundreds of people. We baptized people in the river behind us. And he said there was so much joy that it took over the streets of that city. Time for your Monday motivation. I pray this message will help you to jumpstart a new week. Know this, God is not calling on you to understand all things. He's calling on you to trust him in all things. And guess what? He understands all things. With that word, take comfort in whatever may concern you, and be sure to make this a marvelous Monday. That will do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. I want to remind you can always find our programs on the CBN News Channel. You can also find them anytime online at cbnnews.com. We'd love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can email us at the address right there on your screen, newswatch@cbn.com. And we're available on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hope you'll join us again right here next time. Make it a wonderful week, everybody.